Hi there, folks. This is John Law, and I'm on Verbal Shenanigans right now. And we've been talking about Santacon and Burning Man and Cacophony Society. We never got around to talking about Fight Club, though.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hello, everybody. Hello. This is the sound of me opening a beer from our friends at Dogfish because, Mike, we got to get into some stuff today. Welcome everybody to Verbal Shenanigans podcast. I don't know, episode 521 or some BS like that. Mike, first off, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm a little tired. I am enjoying my vacation, not enjoying my car in the shop for multiple reasons, but I mean, I guess it comes with life, my friend. Nothing wrong with it, just brakes and all that just adds up to the oh yeah, and then it's like, I'm got my car back, but I'm poor, so I can't drive anywhere.
It's funny because I thought I heard, like, when I was down in Georgia, like your brakes or something rubbing a little bit in the car.
Yeah,
like it felt like it a little bit.
Yeah, I put it in for brakes, and it needs a couple brakes and shocks and tires and stuff like that. So
yeah, the whole gamut. Yep. Well, anyway, let's dive into this, Mike. I am done with nature today. I'm done.
Oh, no.
Screw the animals. Screw wild animals. Screw things living in nature. I'm over it, and I'm done.
Are you just a city boy now? You're going to go up to the big penthouse in the sky?
Yes, I'm just a city boy. So
remember, the beans don't burn in the kitchen.
Mike, what do I not like? What is something that I do not like in reference to nature? Don't say you.
Oh, that took my answer. I am going to say creatures of nature.
Yes. Now that's a little bit of a confusing statement for people. Now, I love nature. I love visiting national parks. In fact, if it was up to me, wherever we would go would be national parks. I grew up out in the woods, being a Boy Scout, all this great stuff. But I do not like creatures living among me. Okay.
No.
No.
Have you put up a sign that says no trespassers? I feel like they would understand. Maybe put it in Braille in case you get a blind squirrel we hear about that gets a nut every once in a while.
Well, let's jump right into that, Mike. So I told you this story a couple weeks ago. I don't know, maybe it was a month or two ago. There was a bird in the house. There was a bird flapping around, and we were talking about I'm not very comfortable going near the bird. I feel like the bird's flying 100 miles an hour. It's going to peck me or something weird. When it's in the house and it's in a cornered position, I'm not a fan of it. Like I said, I prefer my space, and nature has its space, and I'll visit nature. They don't need to visit me. Okay. So
should they send an invitation of some sort before they go into your household?
Like an RSVP of some sort?
Yeah. What was that site? Evites or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that would be quite... I mean, honey, we're supposed to get a moose inside the home in a couple of weeks, and all should I say yes?
Yeah. So my wife goes... So I also told a story about it. There was a bat one time on vacation, and my female cousins all came and woke me up as if I was going to trap the bat. Then we found out about your bat, and your parents were banging, and you disturbed them because of the bat. Yeah.
Were you banging at that time? Is that why you were so upset? Like, were you in like a little grinding session? And
no, I wish, because that would maybe take my mind. So I go. I'm just watching the kids, and my wife is home, and my wife goes downstairs, and I just hear, "Oh my God, Scott! Oh my God! There's a squirrel!" And I'm like, no, there's no squirrel. And she's like, it's right there. I see its tail. Come here. What do we do? And I was painting at the time. I was working on a door project. So I dropped the paint, and sure enough, I run to the gate that's at the top of the stairs, and I see this little bushy tail, like kind of hovering on my fireplace. And she was in the office, which is where I usually podcast. Now you will notice I am in a different location at the moment. Okay. I am.
Yeah, I thought you were in like a wood cabin of some sorts.
This is actually the front of my house, which is the kids' like playroom where we store all the toys. You've been here before.
I get the picture now. Yeah.
So we see the squirrel, and of course my son comes running over. And my wife is in the office. She was doing an interview, okay, or about to do an interview she's applying for a job. And she's like,
I mean, why did she shoo the squirrel away? I mean, how else are you going to show a future employer how you deal with stress other than a wild animal in your living room during an interview?
So she's scared to come up the stairs. And Mr. Brave over here is scared to come down the stairs because of the squirrel. And then my son is running by the gate, and he's like, oh, I see it. I see his tail. So she's like making banging noises, not the ones like, your parents were doing during the bat. She's, we're trying to bang on the walls. The squirrel's not really moving too far. He's kind of hiding in this little corner from what I can see.
I mean, were you giving it a good rhythm? Was it like just like bouncing its tail? Like, yeah, I remember this back in the 90s.
Yeah, no, I didn't play any squirrel nut zippers for him, nothing. So I try to, I go around the house to open the front door because my basement is a walk-in basement, so it's not fully like underground or whatever. And I go to open the door, and my wife runs up the stairs, and we both don't see whether the squirrel exited the door. We leave the door open for a little while, and we're like, oh, I hope he's gone. I think he escaped. I think he escaped the house. Like,
you weren't like checking out the ring, were you just like sending notes downstairs? Oh, gee, it'd be really nice if you went outside there, Mr. Squirrel.
No. Now we know if the squirrel was in your house, you'd be like, all right, gotta give him some kind of voice here. I
mean, that could have been, Skipper.
Yeah,
my old buddy.
Yeah. You have experience with pet squirrels. I, on the other hand, do not. Now,
why did you tell him? Hey, do you know Burloo? I mean, like maybe you could have had a common ground and would have left your house.
Maybe if I took the headphones off and called you up and let you speak to him through the speakers here.
Yeah,
it would have been a different situation.
I felt we could have bonded. Actually, maybe made our own podcast, the two of us.
Please do. So we leave the house. My son has swim lessons, or we're like, okay, I think the squirrel's gone. Maybe we avoid it. Now, I have 100-year-old house. There are some issues with the, soffits and gutters and stuff like that. And I know eventually they have to be patched up or fixed. But the only thing that was weird about this, it was in the basement, not in the attic, which is very common. Squirrels get in people's attics. I could deal with that. Okay. Now my basement doesn't have a basement door where I can completely seal off, said squirrel down there, where at least I know, okay, he's down there.
So you're saying that this wouldn't even be a story you would have brought up if he was in the attic? Like we've been on the podcast, you would have said, side note, squirrels in the attic, but we all know what that's about, and I'll get to the next thing.
Now I go downstairs and I look for remnants of the squirrel, and sure enough, he chewed on part of my siding, my molding around the window in my freshly done basement, which was just done last year. So I chewed that up, and I'm noticing little pieces of poop, and I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. And I just have this feeling of being violated.
Now, are you sure it isn't your son, who is historically known for pooping on stairs and shooting poops out of his butts from large distances and stuff like that?
No, they were way too tiny for his level. And I noticed
he would have bragged more.
And I noticed there's like claw marks, like dirty claw marks, all like on each window. So this squirrel must have been trying to get out the window. Okay, but I don't want to leave a window open because like I live in a wooded area. The amount of bugs that would get in the house would just be, we'd have a different problem. You know, it would trade a
That'd be
squirrel
so
for
great for like 800 mosquitoes.
yeah, exactly.
Some
Yeah.
ticks.
Yeah. Now, Mike, I've never claimed to be this manly man. Something about rodents just does something to me, and I don't know what it is. It's like this feeling of like a skeeviness to it.
So instead of Snow White, you're Rain Black, the total enemy of all nature.
Yes, yeah, we can go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got something for the title, but continue with the story.
Now we go to swim lessons, and we come back, and I start working on my paint project again. And I hear my wife scream again and goes, "Oh my God, the squirrel, the squirrel, the squirrel." And I run to try to open the door, and he scurries now into the back of the basement. And I've got a broom, and I'm like banging on everything. Now, we before that went to the hardware store because we said we got to try to trap this thing. Okay. Mike, and I said, "Baby, I know at the hardware store it's going to cost an arm and a leg for a trap. Okay. You could probably get a crappy one on Amazon for $20, something like that." Okay. So what do you think a trap costs at the local hardware store?
I mean, they've been ripping me off for years, but haven't specifically for animal traps. I was hoping for like animal release products and all to have more in my household. I'm going to guess $129.
So I paid about $80 for this little tiny steel cage, you know. Not like the fun steel cage that you and our friend Harry like, just a little tiny steel.
But like you wouldn't see King Kong Bundy in this cage that you bought for $89. Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm already in a pissed off mood, and I'm feeling that skeeve again where I'm like, oh, I have to podcast like in a little while. I was like, I got to go downstairs and get my stuff. I don't really want to go downstairs. And now my wife is like closing the doors and stuff like that. She's like, well, I don't want the squirrel to come upstairs into like the kids' bedrooms and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm just thinking more and more and more about it.
Yeah, so you should have put some like house rules in there for the squirrel. Now listen here.
Yeah.
You are free into the kitchen, but you're only allowed 2 pretzels. Okay. The rest are for everybody else. You may go into the bathroom. Don't wake up the meth plumber that be in there doing stuff in there. But, feel free to those, but no upstairs privileges for you, Mr. Squirrel.
Yeah. So this is how much of a man I am. I asked my wife, can you set the trap and put it downstairs? Because I don't really want to go down there with said squirrel. So currently, as we speak, there is a squirrel roaming around my basement. Okay. And hopefully during this podcast, maybe I'll hear a little metal jangling around and there'll be a squirrel in it. Now, Mike, I am so uncomfortable that I don't even feel that comfortable letting the squirrel out of the trap. I'm a little scared of the rodent, attacking me or turning on me or something like that. Another funny part of this, okay.
A lot of heel turns happen in cages. I can tell you that from the history of the WWF.
My wife, she's like, what do we feed him? I'm like, I don't know. Peanut butter seems to be like the rodents. Everybody loves peanut butter.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can open up a peanut butter store in the middle of the woods and every animal will come to your establishment.
So I'm sure you have thought about doing that.
I would. I'm not Rain Black like you are, as we pointed out.
And my wife, she's looking at the peanut butter and she's like, I don't know. This might be expired. I'm like, are you looking at if the peanut butter is good enough for the squirrel in the basement?
I would love a situation where you're like, Burloo, I trapped a squirrel. I don't want to touch the trap. And it's projectile vomiting all over me because we gave it year expired peanut butter.
So one more great part of this story. Okay. And this is only part 1 of Scott vs. Nature today. I say, I've got a dog. I've got this. Yeah, he's almost 14, but maybe he's still got some beagle life in him. Half hunting dog,
He's a beast. He should always have that primal instinct in him.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, let's send him downstairs. Okay. Maybe he can sniff the squirrel and chase him a little bit. So here we go. I let my dog down the stairs. It takes me 5 minutes to even get him down the stairs because he's like, I don't want to go down there. It's a lot of work getting back up. My dog comes downstairs. First, he sniffs around and then just lays on the floor, just in the middle of the floor.
Like a good guard dog. Yeah.
Then I kind of like push him towards the back room to kind of go after the squirrel. And I start looking around and start cleaning up. I turn back and my dog decides to shit on the floor. That was his defense against the squirrel. Just drops it. Now, this dog, he pees a bunch sometimes because he's old. He never craps on the floor. For some reason, when we're going squirrel hunting, he decides to crap on the basement floor.
Well,
Thank you, Obi.
It's well known that nothing terrifies a squirrel more than dog manure. It is a well-known fact. I mean, that's why I never have squirrels around my house and all, because I have nothing but dog manure all around my house. So never pick it up so I don't have to see a squirrel. I don't have the same problems as you.
I've never even, for some reason, it's always dog poop or dog shit. No one ever says dog manure.
Well, it's fancy right here. That's how you get in the store. So you say I got a bag of dog poop, they're like, well, the trash is over there. You say I got some dog manure, they're like, well, I'm growing a garden. Let me take 10 bags.
And now I'm like worrying. I'm like, I got friends staying over this weekend. I got my parents coming up on Friday. There's gonna be some squirrel just attacking them, or like, I don't know. So
you guys sharing a bedroom with a feral squirrel? I would help you out, but I'm too scared. Always trying to help. There's a big pile of dog manure right by your bed.
Now, I feel like, Mike, I do have a second part to my nature story, but I feel like you, I feel like you wouldn't be bothered as much by this, correct?
I mean, I would be trying to figure out what to do with getting the squirrel out, but a part of me would be I think I'd be more worried about keeping my two dogs away from said squirrel, unlike you, who is shoving your old dog down there, literally crapping its pants, trying to defend
your dogs
his
don't know the dog manure defense.
They do the meat defense, where they go sprinting after. In fact, if you recall, I had to yell at Callie over the phone in Disney because she had a chipmunk in her mouth, and my wife said, well, the dog listens to him. So everybody who's trying to enjoy their fast passes and Dole Whips are hearing Michael Burlew screaming in the phone, let it down.
Now, do rodents creep you out at all? Like would a squirrel creep you out at all?
It wouldn't terrify me. I'm not going to go over and pick it up or anything like that. I still have to kind of like you figure out, okay, how do I get it out? But I'm probably going to be in the basement with the squirrel, maybe leading a trail of some food or whatever to see if it'll
I
go
picture you leading a trail onto your own body.
so I got the two dogs and the squirrel sleeping with me. It'll be a great night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So that's my current situation, and that's been a little bit of a hot mess dealing between my wife. The kids have been a little nuts today, and I'm facing it. I'm a big pussy when it comes down to it. There's a lot of things I'm not afraid of, but apparently, squirrel in my house just throws me for a loop. Bird in my house throws me for a loop. Mice don't like mice.
And just to confirm, the squirrel is still in the house right now.
The squirrel is still in the house, apparently.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I demand bets on how long the Brennan house has a squirrel in it.
I actually said to my wife, I said, I don't even want to cast with Burlew because he's going to be messing with me. There's a squirrel behind me while I'm trying to talk and run the game.
I'm not saying a syllable if I see that squirrel in that window pane behind you. I am just going to sit back and I'll just be casually talking. I'll be promoting babyboomer.org and just wait for the scream at the end. I won't even have final words this week for once.
This squirrel comes upstairs. You might hear my final words tonight. So then, as nature pissed me off, I go down to swim lessons with my son down by the lake, and I always go in the water beforehand, let him play for a half hour, and then he has like a swim lesson there.
And then pick him up and throw him in the water and say, swim or die. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Today, apparently, I'm just sitting in the water, and fish just decide to feed on me today. First off, I'm thinking it's a fish, unless it was like a water bug or something.
I hope it's some foot fetish guy who just has a snorkel. It just sucks your toe. he just spends a whole summer snorkeling and sucking on toes, and on there like, ooh, there's a catfish here. That would be the greatest, man. Like, if he went to court, I'll be like, Your Honor, I will not prosecute that man. He is the most brilliant person on earth. We need him in Congress.
He's having his own little freak off in the bottom of the lake, just sucking people's toes.
Yeah, that's what Diddy does now that he can't do freak offs for the moment. While they're waiting for the trial to end, he's just in the pond and all just sucking on some toes.
He's brought him underwater. He can't get caught out there. I don't know, man. I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, I feel like on my back. I'm like, ah. Then I like move over. I sit down. I'm like, another one gets me. And then I'm like, all right, whatever. So I move over, and I'm talking to another kid in my son's class's wife, and she's just talking to me. And all of a sudden, like, something grabs my nipple, and it's like, and all of a sudden I go, and she goes, like, and I jump out. She's like, what was that? I'm like, I don't know. A fish or something's biting me right now. And I move like another 15 feet over, and I'm like, okay. Then all of a sudden gets me again. She goes, again. And I'm like, I'm done. I just like go and stand on the beach. So I got fish eating me. I got squirrels in my house. I'm done with nature today.
I feel you have a special power here. And I think you should be on the Bass Pro tournament. But you see all these guys with these special boats and like all the tracking equipment and the special baits. You're just dipping your nipples into the water, and you're catching like 9-pound bass and like defying everything that we know about fishing right there. That'd be the most beautiful way for you to supply for your family and all, and you can live in bigger mansions where more squirrels can hit in your basement, and now you'll be living the life.
Another thing that is also has got me on edge today is my wife, like, because she keeping the doors closed to the kids' room, and I'm like, you gotta keep the door open, because my son at night like gets up sometimes and freaks out. Like, if the door's closed, he's gonna freak out. She's like, no.
He knows you're banging in there, and he's got to tell you about the squirrel.
No, he keeps coming into our bed. Otherwise, I could be banging. But
I need to talk to you. And like, your mother's been looking pretty nice lately, and you just been coming into the bedroom too often. She's going to be my little guppy, and she's going to suck on my nipple, and I don't need you in the bedroom at this time. That's the kind of love life that you hear about in the most erotic fan fiction of Scott Brennan.
So he's been coming in like lately, and sometimes I've been like, because the baby's in there, my son comes in, and I've been like sleeping in his room. So I've been like grumpy the other night because he peed his bed, and then he went into our bed. I had nowhere to sleep, so I had to sleep on the couch, and I was like, I don't know, I'm getting older. Sleeping on a couch is just not that great anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, it kind of hurt. And then tonight she's like, I'm like, you got to keep the door open. She's like, no, I'm keeping the doors closed in case the squirrel comes. She's like, you could sleep in his room. So I have a night ahead of me of probably sleeping in my kid's room, worrying about a squirrel, recovering from fish bites or whatever the hell I have on my body. So that is my story for this week, Mike. F nature. It won 2-0 nature.
Scott, I mean, you keep going to AI to create a Burloo story, yet somehow your life became a Burloo story. Do you feel maybe by drinking some of that Burloo water that some of my mojo came back with you to Jersey, and now you're having Burloo-esque stories now?
No, because if this was a Burloo story, you'd be like, well, So I fed the squirrel a little bit of applesauce and he liked it. And then I brought him in and he was really nice. And I decided to call him Fred. And he was Freddy the squirrel, but I couldn't come up with a voice for him. So I made him a kamikaze pilot from Japan. He's like, oh, I'm the squirrel. I'm coming for your nuts. And then I got bit by the fish, but the fish, I was able to catch it. I'm able to put him in a bowl. And I called him Frank the fish. And it was just an unbelievable harmony that we had in the basement with the dogs, and the fish, and the squirrel. That would be a Bertlu story.
That's fair. I have no I have no counter.
And then sometimes Mr. Cow comes and joins.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to have all these fish and squirrels in my basement, I can't leave out Mr. Cow for gosh sakes.
Yeah. So that's kind of why, like today, I said you were like, "We still on for night?" I'm like, "I think so." This story would be worth it. Just hang tight. So
yeah, I just feel like you're going to be in like a cement bunker in a couple weeks in the heart of a major city to ensure that no longer wildlife will be affecting your daily operations.
I don't know. You know, I have these dreams sometimes of like going off the grid and living in a cabin. But if I'm going to be visited by squirrels and bitten by fish all day long, I don't know, man. I don't know.
You be yelling, "I need the grid! I need the grid! Where's it at?"
So I don't know, Berlo. What do you got? Help me not think about the squirrel.
Well, Scott, I have to tell you about my 4th of July day in total and all. Started off day before. I was reminiscing about the old days growing up with the family. We used to go to the Milltown Parade in the heart of New Jersey every 4th of July. 4th of July was a big holiday. We'd have like all our family over. We'd have all my uncles, and including a special shout out to Ten Finger Frank. For those who are not aware of this story, my one uncle would come over on the 4th of July and light firecrackers in his hands during the festivities.
And his real name was Jason Pierre Paul.
Well, I mean, the reason honest to God, why we called him Ten Finger Frank is every year we're like, he's getting a new nickname. He's getting a new nickname, but he would be letting off these firecrackers in his hands. And he's like, my fingers tingle every single time. Never happened. He kept 10 Finger Frank. Now, which is ironic because then my other uncle Jimmy became a one-legged, then a no-legged uncle, but I digress. That's a different story. So I contact my dad, Big Wild Hank, and didn't have to ask him for any work. I'm like, hey, you going to the town's parade and all. He lives in Noonan, Georgia. And he's like, yeah, if you guys are coming down, I will go to the 4th of July parade.
Oh, BWH was ready to go to the parade.
Yeah. We went to a couple parades before. We really loved it and all that. I was in Peachtree City, but I'm like, let's go to one in Noonan. And I guess our wires got crossed because after I rushed the wife out of the house because I'm like, they're going to close down the streets and we got to get a parking spot before they close down the streets. And we get into Noonan right at 8:00 and all as they're closing down the streets. My dad calls and I'm like, hey, we're just parking. And he's like, hey, I'm in Peachtree City. So I'm like, hey, we'll be there in half an hour. But I digress.
Probably no peaches there.
No, nothing, no peaches there, even though everything about Georgia is peaches. But we go there and maybe I'm just waxing nostalgic here, Scott, with parades, but I remember parades growing up, even the few I've seen down here, there'd be like 8 or 10 bands coming down the street. There'd be people in cars just like grabbing handfuls of candy and just chucking it out in the streets, or all the kids would run out there. The military come out and they would shoot their guns. And as a kid, I would run out and grab the shells and burn my hands grabbing the shells. And I don't know why I wanted the shells, but I got the shells in those situations. So that just.
So you were just honoring your uncle. You want to. That's how you warm up to blowing fireworks up in your head. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm still 10-finger Mike, but so we go to the parade. And big old turnout. I mean, you could see people lined up for miles. This is going to be great. It starts off with they have a plane flyover. They have like 13 planes and they're shooting smoke from the back end. And oh, this is so cool. And parade starts and the first band comes in. It's like, it's just like great memories of parades and everything. Then it was an infomercial for about 40 minutes. And I'm not sure, like, are you a parade person out of curiosity? Do you take
I'm
your
not.
kids to them?
I mean, I'll take my son to the Christmas parade, and I think we've done the St. Patrick's Day parade here, but I'm not a huge parade guy.
Okay.
I worked at a local TV station and filmed a lot of parades, and I was like, all right, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah. So you figure all these floats and bands are coming down,
Mhm.
and it's like, vote for this guy for Congress, and people are holding up Trump's picture as the guy is going by, and then it's like, hey, I rebuilt houses, and everybody's waving at him, and then it's like, local gym, come join our gym, and this was going non-stop for about 30 minutes, like nothing.
So, like, each float, quote unquote, was like a commercial.
Exactly. And then on top of it, the ones that were throwing candy, one at a time, and we're talking the cheap of cheap candies. And all we're talking about the dollar store pink bubble gum that tastes like the baseball pack bubble gum.
I just pictured you knocking kids over for your one piece of bubble gum.
No, I did get a piece of bubble gum. The guy threw it right at me, but
I pictured you like, boom, like knocking kids out of the way. Like, that's mine. Sorry.
yeah, I would throw them into the vehicle. That way there'd be one less kid to worry about as I grab my candy.
Mhm.
But I have never seen a cheapness and most boring parade ever before. Like, we were literally not even a quarter into the parade, and my dad just turns to me and he's like, "You guys want to go?" And we're like, "Yeah." There was no sign
Where you're
of
like,
anything.
we're like, don't worry, Dad. I know a great butcher shop up the road. Then
No. We discussed it during. We went back to the house. Mama B, she cooked up some turkey burgers, and we had a good little mini 4th of July celebration with the two of us. And I go home, and I think fireworks are now legal in Jersey right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of had that discussion on a side note where, like, kids these days don't really know the coolness of hearing, I just talked to your uncle from North Carolina. He's coming up for the 4th. And he's got a big load of fireworks in the back. And it's just like
Jersey, they sell them now in the stores, but they're like, I don't know if you can get like the the big ones. I'm just not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, we got all the like rocket ones and stuff like that. Probably the same kind of things, but like as a kid, like just the coolness and the aura of we're gonna have fireworks. And my uncle is doing something. He's going through like 4 states that like he'll get arrested if they find him and anything, and just like line stuff up, and you're like, what does this do? I don't know, run. But any case, letting out the dogs, whole street is just beginning their fireworks celebration right now. Like literally every house, somebody bought like 20 boxes of fireworks, and they're just going one at a time. Just like you literally have to, if you're not enjoying the fireworks, you're spending half the night like looking up to make sure your roof is not going to be on fire. That's how many fireworks are going off in the household. But as I was taking out Leia and they were letting the fireworks off, she got a little scared. I'm like, all right, I'm going to let you in. And I noticed hearing like a really loud bird, like squawking somewhere in the area. And I look around, and there's a nest under my porch, and there is a bird hanging by 1 foot, dangling from the nest, swatting its wings like crazy, trying to fly away, completely stuck in the nest right now.
Okay.
So I go into the house, bring the dogs in, and I naturally turn to my wife and then say, "Hey, you want to help me save a bird?" Now, this is pretty big on a side note, as we talked about in the podcast before. My wife, for a long time, was petrified of birds. Her grandma somehow convinced her that, like, birds are disgusting, and if they poop on you, they can give you cancer. So, like, she got some weird PTSD in there about birds, and we had a bird fly in the house before, and like she ran probably like a Scott Brennan would run out of the room, and I've shooed him away. But she went with me to Sky Falconry, and she has now a love for birds. So she's like, yes, gonna help him out. So this little birdie was dangling. I had to, like, I could not get it stuck. I'm like on a little step ladder as fireworks are going nonstop, like 20 feet away from me as I'm trying to help this bird out. So I just say, I gotta tear the nest and bring the bird with me. And I went to the back and had the wife get some scissors, and I'm carefully getting the bird out of the nesting.
Is the bird freaking out when you're doing that?
He is flapping his wings. He's not doing any defensive. He's not like pecking at me or anything like that. He's obviously like, what the hell's going on here? And I don't know how long the bird was dangling for, because its one leg was just like a long line strung out. So he likely injured that leg pretty decently. So
now, do you do squirrel work?
Now, I don't have any in the repertoire. I have some squirrel work on my resume, which I could have brought up during your wife's job interview, which could have intrigued them. But I
mean, between squirrel work and your VCR, you're able to work a VCR. There's some great.
That is true. I have a dog manure business, as we discussed. So
that's true.
I have a plethora of things in my life. So I'm able to get as best as I can. I get his good leg out of all the nesting. I get pretty much all of his leg free from the other one. It's still like tangled up in like whatever these birds pick up, like wire and stuff like that. So I come to the conclusion we have to find a bird doctor on the 4th of July. So I call up an emergency vet clinic, and I'm like, okay, I got this bird. I want to relay to you, I'm not paying for this bird in any way whatsoever, but I'm trying to find, like, do you know of a sanctuary or something like that? And they pretty much told me, you can come to our hospital, you'll sign off on paperwork saying you're surrendering the animal, and we will take care of the bird as best as we can. So it's literally sign a piece of paper, walk out of the room. So we had to drive an hour on the 4th of July. Wow. The wife made a little box on the inside. She shooed the dogs to the basement, but she kept me outside while she was preparing this box. So I'm trying to calm down this bird who has an injured leg, and fireworks are going off every 5 seconds in the air.
Now, let's say I'm the bird.
Okay.
I'm flapping. I'm freaking out. How are you calming me down?
I do the one finger pat. I start with the head
one finger pat. Okay.
Yeah. I start at the head, and I go down to the base of the back. Oh. I'm not touching its wings or anything like that. Just kind of telling it it's okay. It's okay. He's flapping. He can't get any air whatsoever. So
did you give him a name?
What did the wife name it? I didn't give it. The wife, it's like Valkyrie, I want to say it was. Like, I did not give it the name, but she basically called her friend, and they came up with that. I think it's a Star Wars name of some sorts, but I haven't watched the series if it's a Star Wars name, but I digress. But we finally got in the car. Now I had to drive down the street where every person is shooting off fireworks, and I got to be the
I got a
a-hole.
bird.
And
I
yeah,
got a bird, guys. We got a bird.
like you can literally see them. Like there'll be like 4 families out there shooting off fireworks, and they stare at me as my car is pulling up. Like when I'm like, yeah, I got to get through, and they can't even like clean out the area, so I'm like going through people's grass to save said bird.
Yeah.
And drove an hour, did some quick paperwork, hand over the bird. Since you surrender it, a part of the paperwork is I can't get any new information about the bird. So I feel the bird is fine. Probably went to like a bird sanctuary and rehab because it could flap its wings. It wasn't like panicking, didn't look like writhing pain. Obviously, the other leg would need work, or maybe they have to amputate it. I don't know. But in my eyes, I saved the bird that night.
It is. I mean, it does remind me of like, I told this story in the podcast before too. When we were younger, we found all these like stranded kittens on the side of this dirt path we used to hang out. And we're like, oh my God, let's put the kittens in a box and bring them to the vet and whatnot. We were so proud of ourselves. We walked rode our bike like miles to bring it to the vet. And we both like told our parents what we did. And they were like, oh, okay. I'm like, damn it. Like they didn't even care. And like, I hope the vet like actually does something, or they just don't like take the bird and be like, no, we're not doing this tonight.
Yeah, I would assume that but it was a weird discussion because the emergency vet was in Marietta, an hour away. I'm like, so there's no there's no 15-minute bird doctor available on the 4th of July, and they can't give me places, and they either want to pick up or it's like, no, we're talking cats. So
I wish it was like this story happened 20 years earlier, where you were like going through the yellow pages trying to find bird doctor, like Georgia bird doctor, like flipping it back and forth, trying to figure out who to call.
Hi, is this a bird orthopedic? I believe my bird, he got a bad leg. I need some assistance on.
Well, have you heard of the bird not a chair? It should fix that
bird. No, my bird's not gay. I'm not apologizing right now.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we've had a very nature-filled week here. I mean, we got birds.
I embrace my nature story. You are in another room cowering at everything involved with your nature.
There's a squirrel in my basement. There might as well be a Bengal tiger, because I am not I'm not going down there anytime too soon until I hear that trap is full.
You are Rain Black. I'm Michael Bird Lou. I mean, that's the difference in everything tonight.
Jesus
what?
Christ. Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
You need a title for the episode.
Who are you interviewing tonight? We've been going for a while here.
Well, speaking of random stuff, that's the only way I can explain who we are talking with tonight, people, because I don't think I can define our guests with one item. We are going to be speaking with John Law, who's been a part of the Cacophony Society. He is the co-creator of Burning Man. He has done meat parades in San Francisco. He created Santacon, and this is just the surface items we are talking about here tonight, people. This is a very interesting man, an incredible life. Probably had a squirrel in his basement and saved a bird at some time in his life. So the only way we can find out is to get John Law on the line.
Let's do it.
Hey there.
Hey, John. How's it going?
John, how are you?
Good. Never better.
Awesome.
Mike, this is Scott. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello.
Hey, I guess a great way to start off. I mean, I'm just looking over your career of items that you've been a part of, things you've done, all of the fun, I guess, almost anarchy you could say about your life. Was there ever a John Law that was sitting back going, I really think I could be an accountant. I think this could really be my life if I wanted to.
To answer your question, no. No. Not a chance in hell. I'd rather cut my finger off with my Leatherman than being an accountant.
So give us kind of like a background of your life and all. Like I know it. You started back in let's say, I don't know if you say career, your art, your prankstership back in 77 with the Suicide Club over in San Francisco. Give us a gist of, like, I know it's a secret society. How does one come across this society and they let you in?
Well, largely by chance. And it was a very fortunate thing for me because I was here in San Francisco, got here in 76. I was 17 and had skipped juvenile probation and hitchhiked here and was sleeping in Golden Gate Park and panhandling on Market Street. That's how I got started in San Francisco. And I was industrious and didn't want to, really be a bum. Also, I was kind of interested in the party, and the mythology of San Francisco drew me to this place. It was kind of a toss-up, either New York or San Francisco, and San Francisco won out. But then I got here, and the mythology was that, there's this great scene and people doing this creative stuff. And so I went down to Haight Street, and, I ran into a lot of hippies, post-hippies, or whatever you want to call them. And they were all kind of toothless and on bad drugs, and they all told me that I missed the party. Quite literally. And I've had a hard time taking hippies seriously since then. Let's just say I ignored them. And within a year, it took me a little while to find my way here, but it was an amazing place from the moment I first got here. It's a beautiful city, and all I did was walk around and explore. And I knew one person here, but I didn't really know anybody. And I was really shy, unlike later years. And finally, my buddy Ron Unger he was involved in a thing called Communiversity, which sounded really weird. And it was this free school where they had free classes, and it sounded like a cool idea, but I wasn't really that into it. But he kept saying I should check out what they were doing, and they had a fantasy film festival that they did every Sunday night, and I looked at that and they had really cool films that they were showing, and I thought, well, I could do that, I could go to that, but I never got around to it. But then finally one day he brought me this little class calendar that they put out every once in a while, and there was a class of all things called the Suicide Club. It was in a free school calendar, and I read it, and there was a paragraph or two, and that spoke to me more than anything else I've ever read in my entire life. It was just they declared that they were going to, go into tunnels, climb bridges, infiltrate Nazi bars, do street theater and do all this crazy stuff. And I thought, well, that's what I want to do. So I joined the club on the first initiation, and that was it. I set off on 5 years straight of underground events, street theater, urban exploration, all kinds of really amazing stuff that blew my mind, allowed me to be involved in a group of people who were very positive. It wasn't like, we weren't vandals, and we weren't like, the pranks weren't jackass stuff. We were trying to hurt people's feelings. They were pretty funny pranks, generally good natured. And they had a good ethos about what they were doing. It wasn't like I'd been a juvenile delinquent and a career path I didn't want to keep going down because I wasn't naturally a criminal. I fell into it for different reasons. And I really wanted to do something exciting, fun, but not negative. And that's exactly, it sounded kind of crazy. The Suicide Club sounds like a really scary, weird thing, but it really wasn't that way. Quite adventurous though. So that was it. That's how I got started.
What was it like? Was the end of that for you like what happens with a lot of clubs where people lose interest or things start to dissolve or people aren't quite into the cause as much anymore? What was kind of the phase out point for you?
Well, it's interesting. The club lasted for about 5 years from the first initiation till we kind of officially shut it down. And it was an incredibly intimate group because when you risk your life with people, climbing things, going and particularly doing things you're really not supposed to do, you form a bond. I wouldn't say it's like combat or anything like that, but there may be some similarities in that you're really risking something. And the people that you're with, you kind of learn to trust them or not in some cases. And you could draw a pretty good bond. But so after 5 years, the events got more and more elaborate. In the beginning, the whole idea was everybody should do an event. Literally, everyone was encouraged to do an event, whether they were shy or not. And we really had a couple mechanisms in place that did encourage shy people to do events. And it was a really cool thing. But after 2 or 3 years, like people who were really into organizing events would get more and more elaborate with their events. The events became more interesting or bigger. And maybe more colorful with more people, but we lost a little bit of the original spontaneity. That was one thing, so it started getting a little bit top heavy that way, and not as collaborative because it was based entirely on personal collaboration. The other thing is, after about 3.5 years, everybody had slept with everybody else, which has a tendency to kind of screw things up a little bit. Because I'm not going to that event; she's going to be there. The hell with that. And so that was a big part of it.
Now, one of the projects you've done during that time was the Billboard Liberation Front, and where you paint over like billboards, put on neon signs, put up a different message. Can you give us a little breakdown of when you looked at something, like kind of figure out like what was your plan in all this? Was there, I got to figure out the risk, I got to figure out what I'm going to do, is what time I can do it? Is there any thinking at all, or just do it?
No, there was initially there was always thought involved in that particular group, and that group came out of a Suicide Club event that was done by Gary Warren and Adrian Burke. It's called an Enter the Unknown event, and we used to do these type of events where the organizers would say, okay, here, you want to show up here at X time, you want to bring this stuff, bring good boots, like tough clothes for going on a hike or whatever, bring a potluck dinner, bring a flashlight, gloves, whatever you needed, but they didn't tell you what you're going to do. So you kind of had to trust the organizers. And so this was an Enter the Unknown event. We showed up, there were 26 people, including the 2 organizers, and they had figured out that a way to get on top of this warehouse rooftop, actually with the help of a couple climbers, myself included. And up on top of the warehouse, there was a billboard, A-frame billboard, 2 billboards back to back. And they'd come up with the idea to alter the messages on the billboard. We didn't know what we were doing. We got there. I helped, rig up the little rope ladder that we had. It was kind of a silly thing, but it worked for the time being. We got up on the roof with 26 people, and we brought up a paint and rolls of paper and other stuff. We got up there, and then they described to us what we were going to do, and that was a revelation. And we looked at these billboards, and we voted on what to change them to. So it took like about 3 hours. We're all arguing about, oh, that's stupid. I want to change it to this. I want to change it to that. And it was a cosmetics billboard for Max Factor, and the caption was a warning: a pretty face isn't safe in this city. Fight back with self-defense, the new moisturizer, right, by Max Factor. That was their product, right, self-defense. And so a couple of women, this is in the rise of like third wave feminism. So a bunch of the gals, and there was a lot of women in the Suicide Club. It was about 60-40, I would say. And the women organized events too, which is kind of unusual for that time. And one of the women, Adrian Burke, had been kind of offended by that ad. And she thought, well, I want to change that. And that's how the event came about. Somebody had an idea. This is what was marvelously beautiful about the Suicide Club. Somebody would have incredibly wonderful or stupid idea, and we would all do it, no matter how wonderful or how stupid it was. And we would just try anything once. And so we did it. We were up on the rooftop, and we came to these 2 different options to change the billboard to one of those warning: a pretty face isn't safe in the city. Fight back with self-respect. Right. And I thought, okay, that's kind of a concrete message. It didn't really do much for me. But the other billboard on the other side, we voted on it, and I had a little input on this one. We changed that to say, warning: a pretty face isn't safe in the city. Fight back with self-abuse, the new mutilator, Axe Factor. And that was funnier, using a little bit of humor. And so we changed it, and we got arrested. Right, there are 26 people on top of a roof. No. Some industrial guards saw us, called the cops. The building was surrounded by cops. And another thing, Gary Warren, who's one of the main organizers of the group and kind of the philosophical avatar, he had this theory that the cops weren't our enemies at all. That we're all playing in the urban environment, and they were just players in the same game. They just didn't know it. And so, and if we did something like a prank or whatever, and somebody punched us in the nose for it, their reaction to it was just as valid as our initial event, right? And we had to just roll with that, or else we were idiots. Like, if you're a prankster, you got to be able to take a joke, or else you're not a prankster. You're a sadist, basically. And so I kind of took that to heart, and I think a lot of people in the group did. And so we got busted, And of course, they threw it out later because there were 26 people for a simple charge. And then cops didn't know. They thought we were breaking into the building. They'd gotten a call from an industrial guy that people were climbing around on the roof. They didn't even know we were messing with the billboard until they actually got up there. And so to throw them off, we had brought along a gorilla costume, which I was like the kid, so I got to put on the gorilla costume. So we were arrested, 25 people in a gorilla, and the cops were like, "What are you guys?" I mean, looking at the billboards, and like one female cop said to Adrian while she's looking at it, when I first saw that billboard, I knew somebody was going to mess with it, and the other cops were like, "Yeah." I mean, the cops weren't really mad at us. Let's put it that way, because you have to understand when cops climb up on the rooftop of a warehouse in a rough neighborhood at night, they're expecting to be shot. Okay, they're terrified.
Yeah,
right.
So when they find 26 morons 25 morons in a gorilla, and we're cool, and we're like, "Hey, officers, how you doing?" Like our hands are clearly visible.
I was just going to ask you, did you get cuffed in the gorilla outfit?
No, I did not. They didn't. There are just too many of us, and we immediately made it clear to them that we weren't dangerous people. We're like, "Hey, we altered the billboard because we thought it was stupid," and they're like, "Oh, okay." And the cops would have released us, but they got a hold of the property owner or the billboard owner, which was at that time Foster and Kleiser was a company. And so they got a hold of somebody, woke him up at night, and he said, "No, you have to arrest them. They messed with our billboard." So they arrested us. It got thrown out later, and that was that. We called ourselves the Max Factor 26. And that was, and then so I got inspired by that to do. I said, "Geez, doing billboards is great. You can just change a billboard to whatever you want it to say." Yeah. And Dave Warren, who was also one of the co-founders of the club, and he's an older guy. He was a graphic artist among many other talents. He wanted to do some drawings and make some images to recreate on billboards. So we got together and we started the Billboard Liberation Front. But we did it. My idea, because I was like a young wannabe ninja. I was like, "Hey, we can do really good. We won't have 26 people. We'll have 4 or 5 really good people who are good at climbing. We'll be really secretive, and we'll keep a lookout." And so Dave did these designs, and then we started doing billboards. And that's kind of how it worked out. So we're kind of my fantasy of running around like a ninja on rooftops as a 20-year-old kid. I was able to live out that fantasy. And we did it for decades. We did billboard stuff off and on. We didn't do it constantly, but we did it off and on from 1977 until 2011. The last one we did was on 8th Avenue and 38th Street in Manhattan. That was the last one we did. So
now, after Suicide Club disbands, I've heard in interviews you're like, "I don't know where to go, what's next," and all, and you come across the Cacophony Society.
Right.
Before we get into it, a weird, kind of verbal shenanigans intertwining, if you will. When I looked it up, I saw that the society did Santarctica at the McMurdo Station in Antarctica.
Correct.
We interviewed the station manager of that station earlier last year. Oh my God! Did
that come up? Did that come up in the conversation?
No, I don't think he was there for the Santa Antarctica, but it was just a weird coincidence. As I'm getting ready for the podcast, I'm like, "Well, I didn't think those two would intertwine, but here we are."
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff online about it. That was Allie Barden, who goes by the name, her Cacophony name was Sandwich Girl, and her boyfriend, soon-to-be husband, Brian. They were technicians who worked at McMurdo, and they were in the Cacophony Society, did a bunch of events here when they weren't working in the work season down there. And it's like, "Hey, get the idea." And so they talked to one of the guys in Cacophony, Rob Schmidt, and he sent them a whole shitload of Santa suits, mailed them down there. And they, I think the first, I don't remember what year it was, sometime, it was like 25 years ago, the first one, or 22 years ago. And they had a bunch of them dress up as Santas and did different games and jokes and whatnot and dressed as Santas. And then they did it several years after that. So,
yeah. What's even more amazing is that Mike pronounced cacophony correct on the first try. So
I know
it is.
I watch a lot of videos and a lot of practice.
It's a funny word. It's a funny word. It is indeed. It basically means
all words are funny for Mike. We're
well, you guys talk for a living, so you've got to be used to them by now. I mean, come on.
You'd be surprised.
Right on.
Since we're touching on the Santas, give us like an insight into your involvement on these Santacons and
well, now that you ask. It's kind of a fun. It's a long story. There's a lot of different threads in it, and the Santacon, as it kind of evolved or devolved, as you might say, over the years, it's a little bit different than what we had envisioned, what we were doing early on. But and also another thing that you mentioned, probably this December. It looks like they're going to finish the December. Our friend Seth Porges has been working on a Santacon documentary for 3.5 years.
Oh wow!
And Seth's first movie was called Class Action Park,
who we had on the show. Seth Porges.
We also
amazing documentary. And then his second documentary was How to Rob a Bank for Netflix, which was their most popular documentary last summer.
I watched that
too.
Yeah.
His third movie, this will be his third feature documentary he's going to make, and he's self-producing it, and he owns it, and he's had a really good track record with his other two movies. So we think fingers crossed, we don't want to jinx it, but we got a feeling it'll get some traction. People will see the real story of Santacon for whatever it's worth. So Rob Schmidt and I were flown out to New York a couple of years ago. I hadn't been to the event since '98. The last one I did was in '98, and I was kind of over it. And so Seth talked us into going to New York, where we talked to like hundreds of drunken teenagers. But we got him the footage from Santacon '95 in San Francisco, because a lot of people shot it. Santacon '96 in Portland, which is where we got chased around by the Portland Police Department for 3 days straight. Really dramatic stuff and fun. And then LA in '97, which is pretty chill. And then New York City, the first one in 1998. So we have good footage from each one of those. And so he's devising a film out of it. But the way it got started, there's two different threads. One was Santa Rob. He used to be very secretive. Nobody knew his real name. Some of us did, but he kept it really quiet. But he came up with some of the best Cacophony events. And he came up with this idea to do Santacon. He had seen he said he saw a picture in a cartoon in the New Yorker or something that got him thinking about it. And then he had the idea to do Santacon. But there was an earlier iteration, which Rob wasn't aware of, because he wasn't in the Suicide Club. He was in Cacophony. This is like 1994. But back in the Suicide Club in '78, Gary Warren had run across an article in Mother Jones magazine about a Danish political pranks group called Solvognion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. And they did a Santa event where about 50 or 60 of them got dressed up as Santas in Copenhagen and went out right before Christmas. And they were a radical, like lefty political group, right? Unlike us, we're just a bunch of dilettantes, right? So they went out and to the biggest department store in Copenhagen and just started right before Christmas and started handing presents to children. Their families are in there shopping. Go, here, child, Santa and the store want you to have this gift. And so, of course, the store flipped out. They called the cops, who called the National Guard, and they came in and were beating up the Santas and grabbing the gifts out of the children's hands and putting them back in the store. So I don't necessarily politically agree with what they did, but you got to admit, it's pretty fucking funny in a way.
Oh, yeah.
And those children who were like 8 years old at the time, they're in their 50s now, and I guarantee they've never forgotten the police beating up Santa and stealing their presents. Okay, so as far as a political action, it went out pretty well. Anyway, Gary was inspired by that, and he thought we might want to do something like that. So he put a little notice along with photocopy of the Mother Jones article on that group in the Suicide Club newsletter, which everybody received, all 100 of us received in the mail. So that came earlier. Rob didn't know about that, and it was kind of like a synchronicity thing. And he had the idea, and then later I told him, hey, we were planning on doing something like that at the Suicide Club, but we never pulled it off. But Rob Smith was the guy behind it. And I helped him the first year. And the second year in San Francisco, I kind of did some of the main organizing. And then the third year in Portland, I organized that along with some of the Portland folks. And Rob was always involved, but I did a lot of the ground organizing. And then we had it was a collaborative event like most of the Cacophony events, but we were pretty much the main organizers. And so it was a great time. The idea wasn't to fuck with anybody or really make people mad. The idea was to spread good cheer and for me, the idea was to take back the holiday for us and take it away from commercialism and the Christian undertones. Nothing wrong with Christians, but some of my best friends are Christians, but we kind of wanted to bring it back for us. And I also didn't like Christmas very much personally because I thought it was really hypocritical to tell little kids that there's something that doesn't exist and it's untrue and make it up and then lie to them about it later or ignore it. So that's the beginning of middle class hypocrisy, is when you're 9 or 10 years old and you realize Santa's bullshit and nobody will talk about it.
Fun fact:
So
my wife, who has on her mother's side is Jewish, at a very young age, her mother told her at like 6 years old, yes, Santa doesn't exist. So she immediately went into school the next day and told all the kids, and that was a fun event, apparently, according to her.
Okay.
Well, ironically, his wife still can't keep a secret. Anything, you go see a movie, you try to plan a birthday party for your buddy.
She tells you the end.
Blows it all.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know what to do about that except maybe duct tape. You know?
You have plenty of that, Mike.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. A little sock and some duct tape works pretty good.
So I just love the imagination of the group and just like the regular thing, just like a random thing. Looking at the list of projects you did, the movie Head Trip, where a bus trip where you take giant mascot dog heads from one restaurant and you go cross country.
Yep.
Like, do you say it out loud as a joke, but then like, oh, maybe this is serious, or are you literally like thinking this out for a couple of days?
Well, the trip to New York was planned out for a couple of months ahead of time. I mean, it was a very major thing. We joined together with our friends in San Francisco Cyclocide Bike Rodeo, which were a punk rock bike rodeo, and they did events styled on rodeos. They'd make these bicycle devices like a bicycle carousel that 20 people could get on and pedal on it, would go around, and like another thing that slipped up in the air, and they do like a bike mosh pit with these janky welded together tall bikes and chopper bikes, and they do a mosh pit literally running into each other. And they also would do jousting, but a tall bike jousting, which is incredibly stupid and dangerous. You're on a tall bike, like 8 feet above the ground, with a fucking giant stick, and awesome. And these two young guys run at each other and knock them off the bicycles. Really dumb, but fucking pardon my French, really entertaining. And
I say bring it back. There's enough ESPN channels out there to cover that sport.
Yeah. Well, so this crew were friends of ours, and so I had these giant 10-foot tall dachshund heads that came from an old restaurant chain in San Francisco called Doggy Diner. It's a long story, but I ended up with them, and they kind of became the mascots for Cacophony and for several other kind of underground things going on in San Francisco. We would bring them out on a trailer and park them in front of our friends' bands if they were showing, or for like dog events, like SPCA events, or Rocket Dog Rescue is another one we bring them out for. Anyway, they're kind of like a local icon. And at one point, my partner Scott Beal and Laughing Squid, which is a kind of a web blog, early blog and a cultural website. He kind of underwrote and helped us put together this cross-country trip to New York, where we had friends in New York City that we did events with as well. And there was a New York City Cacophony Society, a Brooklyn, actually, Cacophony Society at one point. And so we were doing a party at CBGB's 313 Gallery, which is an art gallery right next door to CBGB's, the punk club. Mm-hmm. And they were affiliated. And we had done an event with them before, and we knew the people there. And so let's do a big Laughing Squid party there with all our New York and some of our San Francisco performer friends. So we set it up, spent too much designing, or organizing the whole thing. And then I got with Jericho Reese and his crew with Cyclocide, said, hey, you guys want to drive cross country and stop at roadside attractions along the way, right, and make a movie out of it. And my young friend Fletcher Fleur-de-Jean, who was a skateboard documentarian, so he's really good with a camera, really good cameraman. He and I co-produced and co-directed it, and we went cross country. We stopped at Cadillac Ranch, the Cadillacs in the ground, and Panhandle, Texas. We stopped at the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. We stopped at Graceland, with these giant dog heads, these giant dachshunds, right? And 100 crazy bicycles, and this whole crew of freaks from San Francisco. And it was right in the beginning of the first Iraqi War, 2000, or the second Iraqi War, 2003. And our whole plan was look, we're from San Francisco. And we love America, we love the country, but we don't maybe we don't agree with everybody politically. Let's make this trip not a political trip at all, but just like a goodwill trip. Like, hey, and so it was amazing. We stopped, all these different places across the country, and everyone was curious, and we talked to them and tell them what we were up to and performance stuff. And we had a really great trip. People were awesome going across the country, even though we were kind of like up in arms right now because of that war starting. And we didn't bring that up. We weren't protesting anything. We were celebrating being Americans, and being able to do whatever the hell we wanted to, which is part of being an American, being an individualist and being able to do what you like. And that was a great trip. Did some shows along the way, and we did a big show in Brooklyn, and then a big street show in Brooklyn where we set up all the rides, and then we did a smaller show at CB's 313 Gallery, which was packed to the gills. I mean, it was like literally you couldn't get in. A lot of fun. So, but the dog heads, I still bring them around. I still have them on a trailer. I bring them around to city events for free. We don't charge money for them. Bring them around to public events, like I say, dog charities and that kind of thing.
And meat parades, I saw that in there.
Yeah, that's right. We did the meat parade. Yeah. That one was, that was a good one. We did that several years in a row. Meat parade. Okay. How do you describe that? Okay, so
I don't know. That's why we got you here.
This dude in Berkeley, John Solomon, was a business owner. He had this really well-regarded, very popular restaurant on University Avenue in Berkeley. And in 1996, he got together with a bunch of other business owners in Berkeley and started what they called How Berkeley Can You Be Parade, right? Because Berkeley's got this reputation for being freaks and weirdos and all this stuff. So I said, let's do it. Let's celebrate being freaks and weirdos. And it was a big parade. And they got everybody from the Wells Fargo Stagecoach to the marching band from Berkeley High School involved and everybody in between. And so John called, I was acquainted with him. He called me and he says, hey, do you want to do something, you and your Cacophony buddies want to do something for our parade? And I'm like, John, are you sure you want us to do something for your parade? Because if you want to do something, we're going to do what we want. Right? You might not be a very good thing for promoting business in Berkeley. And he goes, no, seriously, do whatever you want. And I'm like, okay. So I said, I kind of vaguely gave him an idea what we're going to do. So we got the doghead trailer, asked all of our friends to come dressed up as meat providers, whatever that meant to them. So we had like my girlfriend, super cute Vanessa Kimberly, was dressed up as Carrie from the movie Carrie after the blood bucket got dropped on her. Joe Fenton was. There were two Leatherfaces from Texas Chainsaw Massacres, and we had like running live chainsaws, and we had a Weber grill going on the trailer, literally incinerating meat. Big giant oily smoke rolling off the thing, and we had two pig's heads, real pig's heads, which are fucking big. They're really big, right? On stakes on the deck of the truck. And then we're in the parade and we're afloat in the parade. And then we have our team on the trailer was the PETA. We had a big banner that said PETA, PETA, right? PETA, people eating them animals. All right. That was our group. And then we had our own, because it's Berkeley, you've got to have protesters, right? I mean, anything big happens in Berkeley, there's going to be a protest. So we had our protesters, which are the vegetarians. And they were wearing black crease shirts with armbands with cross carrots on them. And so they were marching along, shouting at us and screaming at us and through bullhorns. And we were yelling back at them. Like, they're saying things like, I pity your tragic colon and meat's not funny. And so we were cooking up all this meat. Oh, we also had cartons of GPC cigarettes, right? Just the cheapest cigarettes. And we're throwing them out to the crowds going, here, kid, first one's free. And so the families in Berkeley, you would think that I thought we were going to get beat up, right? Because it's Berkeley. I thought all the vegetarians were going to beat us up, right? But it was the most popular float in the parade, and we were asked back 3 years in a row. And so that was the meat parade. And actually, I think it was Camel Cigarettes ripped off the idea and did an ad with a meat parade in a 2-page ad in their magazine advertising. Seriously.
Nice.
And had we trademarked the idea, we would have sued him. But it was a joke. We weren't going to sue him. But it's pretty funny. So it had some small cultural relevance, I guess. Or so that was one of the Cacophony pranks. See, the thing about these things, the reason they worked is because people would have an idea, and I come up with some ideas, other people would come up with ideas, and all these other people would come around and help them make the idea come to fruition. That was the magic, and it still is the magic of San Francisco, right? Because unlike New York or LA, which are incredibly creative towns, and really ambitious artists and creators, painters, whatnot, musicians, they go to those towns, the very best, the top of their field. They're the ones that are most competitive, the most brilliant at what they do, and to study and to pursue their career in the arts in those cities. San Francisco, people want to be artists, come here too, but there's very little to no competition. There's almost no critical review of what's going on. So what can happen here is you can have a complete lunatic, right, or a genius, right, and everybody in between them. And they'll have an idea. The lunatic will have an idea. And they have this idea. Let's do it. And like everybody shows up and helps them, right? The genius has the idea. Oh my God, this is a great idea. And everybody shows up to help him, and everybody else in between too. But there's no critical mind, so anything can happen here. Because, like, if you're trying to do something weird, unknown, nobody's ever done it before, it seems like a silly idea, right? You get cut down right away. Oh, that's stupid. Everybody says, oh, that, if you're in New York, oh, that's stupid. What a waste of time. Or if you have a really brilliant idea, you hide your idea. You hold it to yourself. You don't want anybody else to know about it because you want to develop the idea yourself. San Francisco, everybody's just like, blah, here's the idea. Let's do it. Yeah. So you get a lot more genuine creativity here in a certain way than you would in these more important cultural centers. People here who are like successful artists, they'll usually move to LA or New York about early or mid-career because, if they're artists, because they want to make a living, right? San Francisco is not great for making a living. It's great for making fun. So that's the real difference here, and why something like the Suicide Club could flourish here, why Cacophony Society could flourish here,
Now, of all the projects you've done, I've heard you say like a lot of these projects have an expiration date, in your opinion, and so which makes me want to step into Burning Man. Kind of talk about like the initial phases, because I know you've done different things in the deserts before, but kind of talk about like bringing it together and when you thought we went too far.
Well, Burning Man was its first couple 3 years on the desert, starting in 1990. It was basically a cacophony event. It wasn't basically; it was a cacophony event, and one of many that we were doing. But it was one taken to a place where your imagination could really run wild. The great thing about the Black Rock Desert, it was just literally a completely blank slate. And if you could get your friends, if your friends are dumb enough to help you carry a bunch of heavy, stupid shit out there, you could make something and burn it, right? Or do some, whatever you wanted with it. And that idea caught on. And one of the reasons why Santacon and Burning Man really, really caught on, and this is super important, is that we were starting to do this stuff. And we had no pretensions about building a cultural empire, or we had no idea about having a resonance in the larger culture. That wasn't really part of what anybody was thinking. We were creating our own reality and using the tools at hand and the really amazing atmosphere in San Francisco to do it. And it was just a lovely, amazing way to do things. And we weren't thinking about the future so much. But with Burning Man and Santacon, and some of the other fight clubs, something that came out of it as well, we were doing this stuff right at the beginning of and the rise of the internet culture in the same place where that was happening. There was a crossover. There were a lot of crossover. There were several people in Cacophony who later went on to, or actually are already involved in some fairly substantial internet and computer, scenarios. John Gilmore, who started the Electronic Frontier Foundation, he was employee number 4 at Sun Microsystems back in the late 70s and early 80s. And I didn't know it. I thought he was just another dirty hippie like the rest of us. But he started the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is still one of the great citizen groups for fighting the government on personal encryption stuff. Brewster Kahle and Mary Austin got married. They were the first marriage at Burning Man, 1992. And Brewster started the Internet Archives, the Wayback Machine. And Mary started Center for the Book. It was a really amazing nonprofit for art and cultural aspects of bookmaking. So these are people, a couple of people, because most of us were just poor, dirty hippies and punks, because there's a lot of punk infusion in the group. But there were several people who were internet inclined and had some resonance in the larger culture. So the stuff that we were doing was almost organically turned into fodder for the growing internet. So people heard about stuff we're doing outside of our circle in San Francisco. The word spread really quickly, especially with Santacon and Burning Man are the two big examples. And so Santacon, after we'd done it a couple of years, people started doing it in other cities, right? And then by the year I left in '98, there were probably about 6 or 8 cities doing Santacons. And then with Burning Man, Burning Man became the event, the sanctioned corporate event for the internet and computer business in the Bay Area. It took a while for that to come to fruition, but it was, by the 4th year, it seemed to be obvious that a lot of the internet kids were coming out and doing it. And then it became a team building exercise for Google and early Facebook and early iteration of these companies. And these are things that, that wasn't really what I was interested in personally, but who the hell cared what I thought? I mean, that really did grow that event enormously. And I left that event in '96 after 7 years. I was operations manager. We had 10,000 people, which I thought was about 8,000 people too many. But I got outvoted, and so other people thought it should grow, and it became something very different from what it was when it started out as a free-form anarchist event with 70 people, sleeping under their cars in the dirt on the desert, which is what the first year was like. It's funny because people call to me like, "Oh my God, it must have been great. Early Burning Man must have been great. Oh my God, it must have been so great." And I'm like, you know what? The stuff you're doing right now is just as much fun. It's like we were sleeping under our car. We're covered in dirt. Yeah. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing, right? And so it's like I tell people, it's like anybody who says, any old person who says, "Yeah, man, it was so great in the past. Everything sucks now." Fuck them. Pardon. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, go for it.
Fuck them. They're full of shit. If you get an old guy like me who's going how great it used to be and how it sucks now, they're not paying attention because the kids are still doing stuff. They're just not telling you about it. And that's a fact. That's a stone fact. It's like when I showed up in San Francisco. Party's over, kid. Boy, the hippies are all gone. They're all up in Mendocino, right? I mean, if I had listened to them and, oh, God, I guess the party's over, and I went and become an accountant, I would have killed myself 10 years ago.
Yeah. Do you see any remnants of the old Burning Man in the current Burning Man, or is it just something completely different?
I haven't been to the event since 1996.
Yeah.
It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I know 100 people who still are involved in some iteration. It's very different now. I know a lot of accomplished artists who jockey for grants from the event because they make a lot of money. The people who run the event, honestly, they should give a lot more money to art than they do. They don't. But there's still some high profile exposure you can get for your art to a certain degree. Flip side of that is you don't want to be, if you're a serious artist, I wouldn't want to be tagged as a Burning Man artist. It's kind of a ghetto in a way. But with that said, yeah, it's a big event. They blow shit up.
Yeah.
There's nonstop 24-hour rave music, I would probably slip my wrist. But I mean, okay, kids, but it's one thing it became. It was much more of a punk event when we were doing it early on in the desert. Actually, quite a bit. I mean, we had the drive-by shooting range, right? Where we, you drive by, on this little dirt road, along the side of this mountainside and shoot at stuffed animals, with live ammunition from weapons, right? That was Burning Man. It was 100% Burning Man. Golf ski, where you'd be putting, chipping balls out and shooting them with the 12 gauge, with a bird gun. And driving really fast, with the lights out, tripping balls, in the middle of the night and stuff like that, which sounds more dangerous than it really is. But that stuff had to be done away with. We had to get rid of the official shooting events by '94 because there were too many people, and it was obvious that we weren't going to be able to maintain range control, so we just stopped doing it. 95, we stopped doing it, but it was still a private event that people would go and do, in a more controlled situation. But I mean, to me, that event was about complete and pure freedom. And when it was smaller, you had people going to it who, for the most part, weren't dicks, and you didn't have to tell them not to be dicks. They kind of got it, And the other thing that's important, with the Suicide Club and Cacophony up through Burning Man, is that a kind of a culture of interconnected, activity and creativity was built collectively and collaboratively which gives you great power because you can do a lot more with a bunch of people working in unison than one person creatively. But the idea was not to be a dick. I mean, basically, the basic rule of all this stuff to start was don't be a dick, right? It's like work with other people and like, compromise a little bit, or not even compromise, but just like, work with people. And so early Burning Man was like that. You didn't have to have very many rules. And we started what I would call, what would you call it? Like, the idea, for instance, like leave no trace, which became part of the makeup of that event, which means don't leave any garbage on the desert, right? That came from the Suicide Club. And the idea in the Suicide Club was if we use an environment, we're not going to trash it, right? We're not going to leave a bunch of garbage. We're not going to, like paint. We're not going to tag stuff. We weren't, with the exception of the Billboard Liberation Front, we didn't do tagging stuff. And with the Billboard Liberation Front, we went to great pains to put on paste overs that you could take off. We would leave a little note for the billboard workers saying, "Hey, sorry to mess up your day. Here's how you take this stuff off." And we'd leave a 6-pack of beer for them, right?
Nice.
So the idea was don't be a dick. And so with Burning Man early on, that worked pretty well. And we started a little mantra on the desert the very first year we were there in 1990. It's like, like pick up your garbage. And if you're smoking, because a lot of people still smoke that time, me included, don't throw your butt on the desert, right? I mean, yeah, it's a big desert, but don't throw your butt on the desert, right? To keep one of those little candy tins, right? And put it in the candy tin and then throw it in the garbage later. And that became a mantra at that event. It became part of their, their public image. It's not really true anymore. People, there's a lot of garbage created by that event, but at least they're trying, so... So it's really about creating that culture of creativity and collaborative work. You're collaboratively creating your world, really, to some degree, if you're doing this stuff, which is really, the early Burning Man was a real expression of that. I mean, the event got big, people got involved. Who knows? The NSA is probably spying on people out there. Who the fuck knows what's going on with it now? And P. Diddy was out there, right? I mean, you have these big camps for millionaires pay. And pay artists to build their art cars and to build their camp. And is that terrible? No, but that's like that's like the rest of the world, where the rich hippies and punks pay for the poor hippies and punks to be their servants. And that's not what I went out there for, and it's not what the event was. To some degree, that's what it's become. It's a big enough event with enough different influences on it that it's not just that. And people go, it's a great party. I mean, who the fuck's going to argue about having a great party, right? I mean, who am I to be a stick in the mud and go, well, fuck you, man. It used to be better in the old days, right? I mean, I'm not that way at all, but it's not my party anymore, and I have no interest in it. But for people going, they have their camp, they have fun, they make margaritas or whatever they do, have a tailgate party. I mean, we could do that at the Raiders game back in the day.
Yeah. John, I can't thank you enough for sharing your stories. I can tell you're probably a person we barely scratched the surface on some of the stuff that you've done in your life and all. And it's been an amazing life and all. It's one of those, if you want to point to somebody, how do you live a life? I might just point your direction and go, have at it and all. If people want to learn about your older projects, your current projects, or anything else that you're doing, where are the best places people can go to learn about you?
I do have a website. I actually did put a blog post, a blog site, or whatever we call it. I actually did do 2 recent blog posts. So you can go to that. So johnwlaw.com, JohnWlaw.com. And there's a bunch of stuff on that. You get kind of a cross section of what I'm involved in. Keep an eye out for the Santacon movie coming out this December. I don't know. It's going to be on one of the majors. We don't know. We don't know for sure yet, but there are several that are interested, I think. And like I say, Seth's got a good track record with movies. So, I think, and I've seen the roughs of the film. It's fucking funny, and it makes fun of us. It makes fun of the general public, makes fun of everybody.
Perfect.
And it's got a good natured piece of work. So keep an eye out for that. And, I guess that's about the main way you get a hold of me, through that website.
Okay. And the final question, I got a little neon light back here, but I really want to do up the basement. Oh, where can I find the Vagina Monologues neon sign that you did for them?
Well, the 8 foot tall, pink and purple vagina, the neon vagina that I made in 2002 for Eve Ensler's Vagina Monologues. As a female artist, because it was for I made it for an art project with 30 or 35 different female artists who were raising money for different women's charities at the Women's Building in San Francisco, and 3 of the pieces of art were chosen out of that art show to be put in the lobby of the big hall where the Vagina Monologues took place. And my 8 foot tall neon vagina was over the doorway into the main auditorium. So I show up, dirty coveralls, smoking a cigar, right, and going, hey, where you gals want me to put the giant vagina, right? And they're like, oh, over here. And I hung it above the door. They didn't know I was the artist, right? Because I'd done it under a false name, Sarah Melmoth. The funny other thing too, so I can't draw. I had asked my friend Dana Albany, who's an actual artist, to draw a vagina, which she drew on the proverbial napkin, and I made the neon patterns out of that to make the piece. And so it is today in the Women's Building. It was sold for $4,200. It raised $4,200 for these women's charities, and it was donated back by the woman who bought it to the Women's Building. It's on the 3rd floor up inside the Women's Building on 18th Street in San Francisco.
All right,
as far as I know, still there.
Because they'll look great next to my NASCAR vending machine over here. So.
Right. Well, you got to get in touch with your feminine side too, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
that's right.
Frequently.
John, thank you so much. We wish you well. We would love to have you back on down the road. It's been an amazing time. Thank you for your time with us.
Great. When Santacon time comes around, give me a call. We'd love to talk to you about that.
Thanks, John. John Law, Mike. It's funny because I told you before the show I was making the graphic for the show, and sometimes, like, if it's like a known musician or something, I'll just put their name and like the band name. If it's a writer, I might put like writer and author. John Law, I was like sitting there like, like what do I put? He's done like all these weird things, but what do I like put as his like moniker?
I would say the neon vagina. I feel that would, like, the whole world would see him and go, oh yeah, that's John Law. That makes sense.
Yeah, he's again one of those guys. You even said it like during our interview, he was giving you Paul Rappaport vibes from a couple weeks ago when we had Paul on, who just like had story after story after story, and it was like it's almost hard to narrow down what to talk about for an interview because there's too much.
Easily very hard, but I will say, not gonna talk about certain things, but I was speaking with another former guest who he's associated with. Let's just say maybe, fingers crossed, December time frame, some gentlemen be coming back on the cast and all. I'll let you all figure out who I'm talking about.
Okay, all right. I like the way you hid that. It was like a little baby bird there, just poking out.
Side note, I was corrected. Lyra was the name of the bird.
Oh, okay. Lyra the bird. Yeah.
That makes way more sense than Valkyria.
Now let's just say Lyra was able to talk, like, let's just say fictionally in some hypothetical world, Lyra had a voice as you were rescuing Lyra. Let's just say in a crazy scenario, what would Lyra sound like?
Oh, Lord. As I've pointed out in previous weeks, these voices take a while to kind of like discover and all. I mean, what? Like, it would, there wouldn't be any accent or anything to it.
No,
it would just be
definitely
like
no
a
accent
voice. I mean, run. That's a little too much like Leia there.
Well, we'll let you think about that, Mike. But the reason I was asking you, I've had a lot of fun in some episodes this year revisiting old things. Revisiting because we've done 500 of these, and it's very easy to start.
You've done 500 of these things. Stop rubbing it in my face.
You're right about there, buddy. You got like 7 weeks to learn that damn song you promised for 500. So
yeah. A couple other things. Yeah. This was one of those. I'm like, I got plenty of time, and I'm like, that number's shrinking.
Yeah. But it's been fun to kind of go back and kind of think about this. And we were cracking up the other day talking about, one of the origin voices of, if you read the newsletter, we talked about your voices this week. The last 2 weeks have been dedicated to like figuring you out. Okay. But I wanted to go back to an episode over 400 episodes ago where one of the voices came back. I have not listened to it in 10 years. Okay. So this is like going back in the vault where we interviewed a man by the name of Captain Bayonne. Okay. All right. He was essentially he's a guy that walked around Bayonne, New Jersey in a superhero outfit and tried to promote like healthy lifestyle and things like that. It was a good interview. We loved it at the time. And Mike played this character. All I'm going to say is the Jersey City Joker. Mike, have you heard this anytime recently? Because the way we talk about it is very like we have got some facts wrong on actually some of the characters and things that you bring up. And so I was sad last night about 12:30. My wife, kids asleep, rolling on the floor laughing at this, and it might only be funny for me and you. So
okay. I know it's probably been a good about 9 years because I remember I think for like one of like 100 or 200 episodes, like I gave you a quiz,
right?
And like I know at some point I quizzed you on like the characters or the squad of the Jersey City Joker, and like we keep on bringing up the girthy Girdle twins, but we always. Like, what the hell are the other ones?
Oh,
we can never.
This is going to be a good listen. So just to preface this, we thought it'd be funny to give Captain Bayonne a villain on the podcast. Now, Mike, before we listen to this, I don't remember if we actually planned like our back and forth, like what we were going to do, because we make fun of our old episodes sometimes, but I swear to God, the improvisation on this is pretty damn good if we were going off the cuff. I know you had like your script, but maybe we'll just get to it and kind of talk about it after.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Mike, 9 years for you, probably about 10 plus for me since I did listen to it last night, but that's called show prep, ladies and gentlemen. Show prep. Here we go.
Without a doubt. But, I understand the consequences of eating too much and what it'll do to you. And I don't want to be, not just myself or
That's
anybody.
Captain Bayonne,
I don't
by the
want
way,
them
everybody.
to be sick, ill, immobilized in any way, not able to get around, on medication. I mean, I think that's what I'm trying to stress. And hopefully when people see me out there and they're like, oh God, not this guy again, they'll say to themselves, well, hopefully, I see him so much. Well, why can't I do something? Why can't, they don't have to be as fanatical about it as I am, but, just walking or just changing your diet somewhat would make a major difference.
Right. Okay. So that was Captain Bayonne, like kind of describing his, purpose, I guess, like why he does it and why he promotes healthy living and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And on the side note for our audience, the reason he's quote unquote Captain Bayonne, he runs with like kind of a wrestler luchador mask, almost a superhero mask, hence like the aura of Captain Bayonne.
So here we go.
Right. Wait. This is weird. We have another call coming in. We have another call coming in. That's weird. Hello?
Well, hello there, Scott.
Who the hell is this?
Oh, your caller knows who I am. Don't you, Captain Bayonne?
Captain Bayonne, do you know this man?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, don't you recognize me, Captain Bayonne? It's your old buddy, Jersey City Joker.
Oh, no. Oh no.
Oh boy.
No. Oh no.
Oh boy.
Wait, the Jersey City Joker?
Yes, Scott.
Captain Bayonne, do you know this man?
I don't think so.
Oh,
How do you know Jersey City Joker? Let me talk to you a little bit here since you called this show. Now, how do you know Captain Bayonne?
Oh, we have a long history together. You see, I'm the one who made Captain Bayonne.
What do you mean?
I was the one driving the car.
No. No. So you tried to hit Captain Bayonne?
Yes, it was all part of my plan to get the world to be fat and disgusting.
Wait. Captain Bayonne, the Jersey City Joker is telling me that he was the one who tried to hit you with the car.
I'm just mystified at this point.
Let's stop there for a second. Okay. First reactions, I had zero recollection of our setup to why we were doing Captain Bayonne and Jersey City Joker. Second thing I was thinking, I'm like, wow, this is when me and Mike were both in extremely lonely stages of our life, just doing this in the office in my house. And 3, the voice is pretty damn good, Mike. It's pretty damn good. What is your reaction hearing this after a decade, basically?
I mean, I'm pretty much keeping with the voice in this and staying in character, and also I'm appreciating what I'm doing in this bit. I forget where I based the voice off. Oh, the Venture Brothers. There was the Monarch.
I was going to say the Joker.
I mean, he's like, they're both like in the realm and all. Like the Venture Brothers kind of spoofs like the 1970 action adventure cartoons, which also includes like the Super Friends and all that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I base the voice off of right there.
Now, part of me listening to this was like, were we better 9 years ago, 10 years ago than we are now? Because this is great. We might stink now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's why we got to bring old bits back. Maybe we were better and more energetic back then. But here we go. Let's roll, because now this is where I think your memory is gonna actually betray you, Mike, because I didn't remember a couple of these things. So here we go.
I don't know what to say.
You miss me, don't you? I won't miss the next time.
So, Burlo, you believe this?
Oh man, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
I don't know. Jersey City Joker. What do you dislike about Captain Bayonne? He's trying to do things for the community. He's trying to make people healthy.
I despise healthiness. I have so much invested in unhealthy lifestyles. It makes me rich, and I will not stand for this.
No, what do you do in Jersey City exactly?
I own rascals. I own elevators. Nobody takes stairs in my building.
Wow. You're very eccentric.
I have so much money invested in so many things. I fool people into thinking they're eating healthy, Scott.
Now, Jersey City Joker, I can't see you right now. Can you put the video mode on your Skype, please?
Wait a minute. Which button do I hit?
That one.
It brought up Internet Explorer.
You are morbidly obese.
Don't you love it, Scott? Look at my rolls of fat and goggle fit.
You're gonna be a big target in Jersey City.
It was very hard to get out of the car to look at my work with Captain Bayonne.
I'm telling you, you want to slim down.
Don't you dare tell me what to do, Captain Bayonne.
Now, Captain Bayonne, this is a guy calling you that somehow interrupted our interview here. Quiet, Joker. And he's telling me that he is all about eating, okay, and rascals and jazzies and elevators. Do you have anything to say to him?
Was still there.
Well, apparently he still loves them.
I love them all. I just want to take a bite into a Jersey's devil dog.
Now, Captain Bayonne, maybe somewhere like Judickies in Bayonne, the Joker can meet you at.
He can, yeah, absolutely. They have those sprinkled donuts you like.
Yeah.
Yes, I love them all, but I will only go there to destroy Captain Bayonne. I have a plan to finally destroy him.
Which is what?
I have brought together a team of supervillains, all bent on the destruction of Captain Bayonne.
Now, okay. One, I could not remember the setup. Two, I'm loving the improvisation. I can't say the word. The improving we're doing here, getting to the story that you had prepared.
Yeah, I had a structure going into it. I know I generally do when I have bits, but there's definitely some tit for tat with him and all. Yeah, I don't even know if I had the reason why I created Captain Bayonne when we brought that up.
Oh, you said you tried to hit him with the car, and if you remember, that's why he was doing his purpose. So I don't know. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. But this is where this is the little part of the bit we've been talking about for 10 years now, where you form your force of
supervillains.
Supervillains. Okay. So let's listen to this.
Team of supervillains, you say?
Yes.
All right. Who's your team, you slob?
Oh, I call them the Slothy Seven.
The Slothy Seven,
Yes.
huh?
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
We have all the major food groups in there. We have Starch Madness. We have Diana Beaties.
Diana Beaties.
Yes.
Starch Madness and Diana Beaties 100% was erased from my mind. Gone. Do you have any recollection of those?
No, I know I made like 7. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Girthy Girdle twins, but those are pretty much the only ones I remember.
We have a black man from the future, from the stars. We call him Lardo Calrissian.
Lardo Calrissian.
Yes. We have the Franklin.
Hold on. We have a black man from the future.
Yeah.
Lardo Calrissian. Okay. Now, I think you're going to be a little surprised when the Girdle twins come up. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
The Franklin Fupa.
And the Gluten Girdle twins.
The gluten
Yes.
Girdle twins.
Yes.
They were not, Mike. One of those things where I was actually going to do a bit on this. I forget what the name of it is, where you remember something that happened, like where people say, like, Luke, I am your father. And it never been said. I forget the term for it right now. I've been dealing with squirrels all day. But we've been saying the Girthy Girdle twins for 10 years. And it was not the Girthy Girdle twins. It was the Gluten Girdle twins.
Yeah, maybe they're in the reboot. They changed their names and all. Like when we get that into like after like 8 films and the last one bombs, and we're like, all right, reboot, and then we're gonna have a different backstory, and they'll be the Girthy Girdle twins again.
So here we go. This is where it really peaks.
They wear this very tight girdle, and once Captain Bayonne gets close to them, they'll let it go and they'll snap his head off.
Wow.
That is one hell of a lineup, let me tell you.
Lardo Calrissian.
Yes.
That might be my favorite one. Now, how do you plan to implement this plan? Where are you going to catch him on the streets?
Well,
There's no way you can catch him.
That's been the problem for the last couple of years. Well, we have this plan where we're going to plant a bomb on his suit.
A bomb.
Yes, and we are going to trigger it, so if he goes above 2 miles an hour, it will explode. He will have to walk everywhere.
So I think I've seen this movie. Did you take that from Speed?
Speed 2, the boat one. I didn't know that they made.
I don't think Keanu was in that one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Keanu. You know, we had this discussion when I almost ran you over. Remember?
Wow. Now, if the bomb thing fails, he's still going to be walking everywhere.
Yes. Well, I'll just have to work on all the people he tries to teach about nutrition. I will fool them. I will teach them the different things that they think are healthy, which are not.
Joker, what's in your pocket? What is that?
This.
Is that a burrito?
I filled it with all different types of things. There's licorice. There's
You're eating a licorice burrito.
Yes. There's steak. There's sour cream. There's all the things.
That is disgusting.
City Joker loves this, and he will make sure that everybody eats one every day.
All right, Joker, you're really interrupting the show here. Do you have one last word for Captain Bayonne?
Yes, I am going to teach your disciples the wrong things. I'm going to teach them.
Don't you dare.
I am going to
Don't you dare.
They're going to learn that fried zucchini is healthy. You can have endless boneless barbecue wings, provided you just eat one of those carrot sticks or celery stalks.
Joker, you're getting bigger by the minute.
Listen to me.
Uh-oh.
I have a certain set of skills.
Uh-oh.
Don't you threaten me. I swear we will meet one more
Joker,
time.
can you let Captain speak?
All right.
What does he got to say? Okay, go ahead, Captain. Address this situation, please.
I just want to know if you paid extra for the condiments in the burrito.
Well, it's like 50 cents extra. I like the guacamole.
Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal. No, I can't believe I got it at Chipotle.
There's a shortage on the guacamole, the fruit there.
Yeah.
A shortage.
No, they had plenty of them there. I asked for extra.
Wow.
Overload.
All right, Joker, I'm going to have to hang up on you. You are disgusting to look at, one.
You will learn to love that.
You have candy wrappers falling out of your pockets. Are you in a wheelchair?
Well, I lost a leg and all because of the Diana Beaties. It was very awkward. That's how I met her in the hospital. But she's great in the Slothy 7.
All right. Thank you, Jersey City Joker. Enjoy the hipsters over in your town.
I will Skype you again.
Goodbye. Wow. I mean, reactions. What do you got here?
Well, one, I was getting confused when real Scott was talking and episode 400 episodes ago, Scott was talking. So like at times I'm like, oh, he's talking to me. Oh, no, that was the bit. That was good stuff. What can I tell you? No,
it was kind of depressing to listen to because one, I was like, I forgot how, I think we're sillier than ever now, but I think we've always been that way in a certain way. Like, I think we've always been striving for silliness.
I feel like there's times we've had peaks where we took it too seriously and we brought it back to the good and all, and understanding if we want to stand out in interviews, we got to do things differently. But yeah. I mean, I truly enjoyed those characters, and I will have to bring back Diana Beaties one day.
I think Jersey City Joker has to make another appearance. I don't know how we put it into the show, but we're gonna figure that out. But I was dying when I asked.
All right, Neil deGrasse Tyson, we got our first caller.
Are you in a wheelchair? I was cracking up. What a good sport! If you want to listen to that, which is crazy, November 27th. 2015, so just about 10 years ago, which is pretty wild. So
that's insane.
Mike, you up for a long episode tonight? You want to play a game real quick?
Oh, why not? It's 5 after 11, but what the hell? Let's play a game here, Scotty.
Okay, well, I feel like we got it because I made the game for this episode, but I couldn't not play the Jersey City Joker thing because we've been talking about your voices for like 3 weeks straight, and it's time for us to move on,
Mm-hmm. The trilogy of voices.
Yeah. Okay, so we had John Law on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the co-creator of Burning Man, okay, as you know, yep. Burning Man. Now, Mike, have you ever thought about going to Burning Man?
I don't like really hot places, so I'm not really a desert guy, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Mike, I took it upon myself, okay, to talk about other festivals, okay, other festivals in the world, okay. Now, I'm going to give you a list of 10 festivals. Okay. In that list, there are a couple fake ones. Okay. Ooh. I'm curious if you could pick out the real festival, or you could pick out the fake. Now, Mike, there's 10 festivals. Okay. You need to go 6 or above to be, I don't know. Once again, I don't know. You lost that. Is it blind or is it melon? So I figured this was a good redemption game to see if you can get back on track. Okay. Now, we'll say you have to go 6 or above. I think is a fair score. Okay?
That's a fair score. And never bring back blind or melon. No, that was a terrifying game that I could not get through.
What do you mean? That was a great game. That was one of the best games. That was one of the best games in the history of our show.
Literally spent half the game just trying to get one right. So no.
Yes. Well, Mike, it could be that way again. You're going to get 10 actual festivals or maybe a couple fake ones. Okay. If you get the answer wrong, you're going to hear this sound. You suck. Okay. All right. If you get the answer right, you're going to hear my boy Little John. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Mike, are you ready to play Festival? I didn't name the game. So
you're too busy with squirrels.
Yeah, yeah.
It's called Festival. Oh crap, a squirrel's gonna get me. Gotcha.
Almost every time I give the name some terrible name. So Festival, real or fake, we'll just call it that.
Easy enough.
Mike, here we go. Okay. First festival. It takes place in Kanorama Matsuri, which is Kawasaki, Japan. Okay. Okay. Now it is the Iron Penis Festival. Okay. The Iron Penis Festival. Okay. Now it's the first Sunday of April. Okay. What? It's a Shinto fertility festival held at Kaneyama Shrine, celebrating sexual health and community spirit. Participants parade with penis-shaped statues, lollipops, souvenirs, rooted in historical prayers by sex workers for protection against STDs, vibrant floats, phallic-themed food, and a lively atmosphere. Sounds a lot better than the parade you went to.
Yeah. If there were more penises than that one, I would have thoroughly enjoyed it.
It is unique because the unabashed celebration of fertility, though phallic imagery, is both a cultural and religious event, drawing global visitors for its bold, unapologetic theme. Mike, is the Iron Penis Festival real or fake?
I'm going with real.
Yeah! Mike, you are 1 for 1. Iron Penis Festival is real. Oh, I also meant to ask you, at the end of this, I want you to tell me what festival you would like to attend.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number 2. The Festival of Exploding Hammers. Festival of Exploding Hammers in San Juan de la Vega, Mexico. It happens every February. Men attach firecrackers to sledgehammers and strike metal sheets, creating explosive displays. This 300-year-old tradition tied to local folklore commemorates a historical figure who used explosives to fight bandits. Shrapnel injuries are common, yet the festival popularity endures. Why it's unique: the sheer danger and audacity of wielding explosive hammers makes this a one-of-a-kind spectacle.
First of all, I wish it was the Exploding Humans one.
I know, I messed up.
You got me so excited, and I'm like, that's the one I'm going to pick at the end. But I digress. I'm going to say it's real.
Yeah! Oh my God, he's back, people. He's back. 2 for 2. Maybe it's the Little John sound that's got you motivated. Maybe the old school buzzer wasn't enough for you. Like maybe you needed a little motivation. Little John will do that to you. He'll do it to you. Okay.
I prefer my boy Yee, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I can't play Hail Hitler on the show because we're gonna lose the little audience we have. So
you ask for the small things and you get nothing in return.
All right. The Great Canine Choir Festival in Banksville, Canada. This happens in mid-July. Hundreds of dogs are gathered in an open field to attempt to, quote unquote, sing in a howling competition judged on pitch, volume, and harmony. Owners train their pets for weeks to create synchronized howls with categories for breeds like huskies and beagles. The event includes dog costume parades and treat tossing contests. Why it is unique, the idea of dogs forming a howling choir is a whimsical celebration of canine vocal talent, blending humor with pet enthusiasm. We already know this. We already know this is the one you're going to attend.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I think I organized it actually.
Yeah.
But
dogs, come sing with me, please.
I'm gonna say it's the first fake one.
You're gonna say that is the first fake one, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
You scared me there for a sec. You moved the mouse.
You like that, right? You like that? I see. Because the last game we played, you told me you got a little anxiety as I was hovering over the sound. So now I'm going to really try to make you really squirm a little bit.
All right.
But 3 for 3, you only need 3 more to win.
I'm going to be a lord again, right?
No. Festivals, real or fake, I guess we're calling that. Okay. All right, here we go. The World Toe Wrestling Championships. The World Toe Wrestling Championships held in Wetton, Staffordshire, in the United Kingdom. Okay. It happens, it varies typically in the summer. Competitors face off in a toadium, interlocking toes to pin their opponent's foot. Originating in the 1970s, this quirky contest draws participants globally for its absurd yet competitive nature. Why it is unique, the bizarre focus on toe strength and the intimate foot-to-foot combat. It is a peculiar athletic event.
I would have Toad the Wet Sprocket perform.
The way we're going to have them on pretty soon.
Yeah.
So if you win the 90s,
if you
we are
performed
killing
at any point in the 90s, you're coming on Verbal Shenanigans this year. That's the way it's been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that's a true story, Scott.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's hit it again.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that sound.
4 for 4, Mike. All you need is 2 to win. Now let's keep in mind 2 out of 6. It would be a pretty epic meltdown if you did not get 2 out of 6. Okay, So here we go. The phallic ice carving contest. The phallic ice carving contest in Frostbite Falls, Alaska. So when it takes place in early February, typically on the first weekend of winter. Okay. Now, what participants carve intricate penis-shaped sculptures from ice blocks in a timed competition, judged on detail and structural integrity. The event, supposedly tied to a local fertility myth, features phallic ice luges for drinks with a meltdown party where sculptures are left to thaw. Meltdown. That sounds like the freak off of Alaska. Why it's unique. The blend of explicit imagery with the delicate art of ice carving makes for a cheeky cold weather spectacle. Mike, what do you got?
I'm going to say fake.
Yeah.
Bam!
Oh my God, he's back. He's back with a vengeance. He's had a rough go.
Anytime, Burlew.
He's had a rough go in the games lately. He's had a rough go. Not as rough as I had, but I did beat the shit out of Dom and Harry in the figuring out Burlew's household thing. So
That's true.
I am back on the winning board. You know what? It's good to have us both here, possibly on the winning board, because screw those guys.
Yeah,
we're the hosts. Damn it.
Yeah, we're the hosts. I'm a lord. I mean, who needs them?
You're not a lord. You're not a lord. We've already determined that. The judges said you're not.
Nicely
the judges said you're not. The judges said you're not. The judges said you're not.
I look down the judges and all.
The World Bog Snorkeling Championship. The World Bog Snorkeling Championship in Lantward, Wales takes place August 1st of every year. Participants snorkel through a 60-yard trench cut into a peat bog using only flippers for propulsion. Started in 1976, this muddy race attracts global competitors who embrace the messy challenge. Why it's unique: swimming through a bog is unglamorous, as eccentric as it gets, combining athleticism with environmental oddities.
Could see either or on this one, so I'm playing with house money.
Oh, wow,
right now.
you're saying it's either or. That is the game. It's either or.
Yeah, but I'm saying like a lot of them, like, after hearing it, I immediately go, I'm leaning towards this. This one is, I'm kind of coin flipping in my head, and my head's gonna try true.
Your head is going to try true. Finally.
Yeah!
Oh my God. Can he go for the clean sweep? That's 6, right? Is that 6?
Yeah, I already.
Oh my goodness.
I won this game. So
you already won. Is it? I don't know. Fake. I don't know. Festivals, real or fake, or whatever the hell we're calling this thing. All right. You want to hear the rest since you already won?
Of course.
You have to go for the full. Now you
gotta give it.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a little curveball here. Okay?
What's up?
You go 10 for 10. I'll bring back your lordship title.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Frozen Dead Guy Days. Frozen Dead Guy Days takes place in Netherland, Colorado. Okay. When? March. Okay. Celebrating Brito, a man who was cryogenically frozen Norwegian man. This festival features coffin races, frozen t-shirt contests, and frozen dead guy lookalike competitions. Volunteers maintain Brito's icy tomb, making this a tribute to a bizarre local legend. Why it is unique: honoring a frozen corpse with quirky events in a macabre yet charming celebration of small town weirdness. Frozen Dead Guy Days.
I'm going to say it's fake.
You are going to say it's fake.
You suck.
10 for 10 is not happening, Mike. This is a real event in Colorado. Where you ever thought about doing coffin races?
I mean, are you in the coffin or are you hanging on to the top of the coffin?
I mean, I'm not sure. It sounds like you're sledding down a hill in a coffin, which you have plenty of coffins. So I feel like one of those you can.
Do not have coffins. I do not have that many dead bodies. We've been over this.
All right. 2 to go, Mike.
All right.
Okay. The Egremont Crab Fair. The Crab Fair in Cumbria, United Kingdom. When? September. Dating back to 1267. The fair includes the World Gurning Championship. You know what gurning is, Mike?
I don't believe I've gurned before, Scott.
Okay. Well, gurning is face contortion. Okay. You contort your face, where competitors make grotesque facial expressions through a horse collar. Other events like wheelbarrow races add to the quirky charm. Why it's unique: gurning is a competitive sport, is delightfully odd and steeped in medieval tradition. Mike, what do you got?
I'm going to say it's true.
Yeah!
Oh, my God. He's back on the board, crushing this game. He will not earn his lordship, but he will add a win to his belt. Mike, the last one. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
The Snow Sculpture Smackdown. The Snow Sculpture Smackdown in Frostvik, Norway. It occurs in the second weekend in January. Teams compete to build elaborate snow sculptures only to destroy them in dramatic smackdown using snowballs and makeshift catapults. The festival celebrates both creativity and chaos, with points awarded for artistry and destruction flair. Hot cocoa and bonfires keep spectators warm. Why it's unique: combining delicate snow art with gleeful destruction creates a playful, paradoxical winter event. Mike, what do you got? Last one. Can you go 9 for 10?
I'm going to say that's real.
You suck.
Mike, that one is a Scott Brennan original. Although I would love to make that event a real one where you build something. We should have what's our friend that we had on the Christmas over?
Parker the Snow Dog?
No, not Parker. Of course, you would want Parker the Snow Dog back.
Yeah, well, you could do it in Colorado where it's cold. So
no, our snow gigolo friend, David. Was it Rothstein, Snow Skull, David Rothstein? Yeah, we had him on for the Christmas. He might enjoy that, where you build it, but you also get points for destruction of the said object. But Mike, which event, you could choose real or fake, I don't care. Which event would you actually make a trek to?
I think your last one that you made up is probably the one I would dig the most, and all just seeing like really cool snow art, and then like being able to buy tickets, maybe shoot like a flaming arrow or shoot cannonballs or something into them. Kind of like we enjoyed the art, and this is a one-time thing right here.
What if you brought the Girdle twins to blow the structure up?
I gotta talk to them. They gotta drop the gluten and go girthy, like we always talked about right there.
I know.
It was such a perfect name with girthy that we can't allow gluten to come back in our life.
I agree. I would go to that one, but the other one that really intrigues me, which is a real one, the Iron Penis Festival, sounds pretty fantastic. I'm sure our friends at the Penis Museum, who we interviewed, would be a big fan. They might be a sponsor of it. I would go to the Iron Penis Festival.
Oh, you would fit right in there.
Yeah. No, my penis is the opposite of iron. But anyway, Burlew, it's a long episode, but it's a damn fun one. Anything to promote before we get out of here?
Well, since I talked about them earlier, I'm going to bring up Sky Falconry. They are out of Alpine, California. Me, my wife, and our friends who live out in California went there. You literally go up into the mountains of the San Diego area, and hawks fly on your hand, and it's just a really cool event, and all seeing them fly and dealing with they have owl excursions, they have private falconry lessons. They are really fun people. They were on Verbal Shenanigans, and I highly recommend, if you're in the area, to go there. Check out skyfalconry.com for more information and schedule your trip out there.
I have nothing to promote, but I will promote you on the next episode if you are an exterminator and you know how to catch squirrels. How do you get them out of the basement? Help me. What peanut butter do they enjoy? Help me. Do they like organic fruit, or do they like nut medley? Please help me. So if you're an exterminator out there and you know how to get squirrels out of the basement, I will be your best friend, especially if you can get to me in the next 2 days where I have people coming over to stay, and I cannot fathom my mother staying over my house being attacked by a feral squirrel. So,
and if you're not an exterminator, if you're just like an average manly man and want to show this girly girl what to do with a little creature in his household, like literally lure it out with some like peanut butter and pretzel or whatever. Make sure it's not expired, as Scott's wife likes to point out. But if you just want to show him how to be a man for a couple minutes and all, he's used to it. Go right ahead and just don't even like knock on the door. Just walk in the house and grab the squirrel and just say, "Bye, wussy."
Yeah, and I'll take that. But the other man I'm talking to has a Disney room in his house. So
my wife has a Disney room. It happens to be in my house.
It's still in your house, damn it. Anyway, please continue following, sharing. I want to thank John Law for coming on. Keep listening, keep subscribing. Check out the newsletter this week. I combined 2 episodes on it. Life is funny, laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
Says good night.
Give us a little Jersey City Joker on the way out.
Eat lightning foods before you go to bed, you'll be tiny in the morning.
I feel like I stop sharing this post.